First fighter interview. I know you as my first Muay Thai teacher, but please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Walter Michalowski. Been involved in Muay Thai, since the 80s. It's changed my life, man. And started out with Nanfa Siradecho. There's a picture on the wall. My first coach introduced to me from Richard Bastillo, student of Bruce Lee's. I was a JKD guy before that, and got introduced to Nanfa, and then Muay Thai pretty much took over. And he passed away in '91, and that's when I started at Sit Yatong in Thailand. So.
Okay, and you're head coach and owner of Sit Yatong LA, right?
Yes, sir.
So before we go any further, I wonder if you can sign something for me.
I thought you were going to have me sign some kind of legal document or something to scare me. Oh, man.
You haven't seen that before.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, too. Right on.
Thank you.
The old instructional tape from Unique Publications.
Yeah, you had a few of these out, right?
Yeah, those were cool.
So it says you're on record for 8 championship belts. Do you remember your first fight? What year it was? Muay Thai?
Yeah, I think it was 91 actually, because that's when my teacher passed away. And most of my belts were amateur belts. I only got 1 pro belt. Had a long amateur career, and the first belt I think was a kickboxing belt too. Yeah, since early 90s.
Okay. And you're also married to a cool martial artist too, aren't you?
Yeah, June Castro.
They got a lot of family history, right?
They do, and the father just passed away, Ralph Castro, guy, legend, one of the first karate teachers in the United States, him and Ann Parker. Real close friend of Bruce Lee's. The guy's a legend. Really nice man too. I got along real well with him.
Right. I met him before.
The founder of Shaolin Kempo Karate.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
He was there when Bruce Lee coined the term Jeet Kune Do. He was there when Bruce fought Wong Jackman in San Francisco.
You got that competitive shooter gear on. That's another thing that you do, right?
Yeah, I was at the range today. I've started training quite a few military and law enforcement guys and girls too. And one of them invited me out to the range for their, it was like a demo, and I didn't get a chance to shoot all their high-tech stuff, all their like cool auto weapons, but I had to leave, and I got so much going on. I'm such a multitasker these days. But I train a lot of military and law enforcement people, and I just want to, I have a vested interest in making them stronger, faster, better, more conditioned, and I enjoy it too. And it's since I was the military veteran, I feel the responsibility to do that, especially in these times right now.
Yeah, help people. That's always a good thing.
Definitely.
You have a ranking in that, right? In the competitive shooting?
Yes. I'm a USPSA competition shooter, B-class shooter. I haven't been doing it that long, but I kind of took to it really quickly. I mean, it's just martial arts. I haven't met a martial artist yet that didn't like that kind of stuff. I mean, we all like our weapons. And the people that are involved in martial arts are pretty balanced people. Mm-hmm. I mean, for the most part, I think they take to that stuff with a really clear mind and good reflexes, good motor skills, good judgment, and do it for the right reasons.
Yeah, definitely. train dogs too, right?
Dogs, actually the German sport of Schutzhund. Now they call it IPO. Actually, I think there's a new name now. Anyway, yeah, tracking, obedience, and protection. Mostly German Shepherds, some Belgian Malinois too, but mostly I love German Shepherds. I was a breeder, actually a certified AKC breeder of them. I did that for a while, and still train them as much as I have time for. I mean, to me it's all the same. I mean, the shooting, the Thai boxing, the grappling, the weight training, the dogs. I mean, it's all the same common thread, and I enjoy it. When you enjoy what you do, your quality of life improves, and that's one of the reasons. Some people ask me, like, man, how do you do all this stuff?
Yeah, I know. It seems like you don't even rest.
I can do all this stuff. I do. I sleep 8 hours a night, man. I take a nap. But you know what? I like what I do. I enjoy it. And they say, oh, you never work a day in your life if you enjoy what you do. No, that's true. That's true, but it goes beyond that. I love it, man. I'm super grateful.
You had a pretty interesting history before all this, too. You used to be a pretty badass guitar player.
Well,
or you still are.
Yeah. It never stops, right? Never stop. I started playing guitar age like 5 or 6. I got a picture, man. I'll have to show it to you. Little kid, guitar's taller than me, right? And we all have our mentors growing up, right?
Okay.
And you need them. It's really important. Guys have them, girls have them, whoever. You need those mentors. You need mentors, and your mentors may change as you change also. My mentor growing up was my cousin Jack. My cousin Jack was larger than life to me as a kid. I mean, he was a military vet, Vietnam vet. I don't know if you ever met him before.
No, but you talked about him.
Nice guy. Got in a lot of trouble though too, which it's exciting, you know. And you could have made a movie about this dude, man. He was just helicopter gunner in Vietnam. And then when he got out, he made some bad choices. When he got out of the military, I think he was running drugs from Florida to Texas or something. Ended up going to prison, and it was all bad. It was all bad. But he's the one that really got me interested in guitar, martial arts, a lot of different things. He's the first one that exposed me to Muay Thai too. I was doing some real traditional karate stuff.
Kata.
Pretty useless, yeah. But it's all we had. I'm from Indiana, right?
Okay, yeah.
And he was like, man, I trained with the Thai Black Panthers that were in Vietnam with me, and I got to learn a little bit of Muay Thai over there, and I had no idea. It was like speaking, Egyptian to me. What's that, And then later on I got to see it, and I remember what he said about it and how he talked about it. And when I met my first coach, Nafasir Adecho, and got to spar with him, I saw why, because it was the most efficient, effective, practical type of martial art, and brutal. I mean, just like, this guy just mopped the floor with all of us without even trying. I was like, man, I gotta learn this stuff. And it was the same way with martial arts with him, but also with guitar. He influenced me with guitar playing, because I had, started playing guitar at 6 years old, and I'm learning like Mary Had a Little Lamb or some like that, right? And taking guitar lessons with the local guitar teacher. My cousin comes out with Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced? And I heard Purple Haze for the first time. I'm like, wow. It was like, another thing was seeing Bruce Lee enter the Dragon for the first time. I mean, that changed a lot of people. Certain groundbreaking things like Hendrix, Bruce Lee, the greats, Muhammad Ali, some of the greats in the different fields. If you ever get a chance to see people like that and be influenced by them, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Because it can change your life.
Right. And you ended up in a metal band too, right?
Well, I mean, at the time, the 80s were the metal years.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That was the best. And I went to GIT. I went to Musicians Institute. I actually moved from Indiana to California to go to the Musicians Institute in Hollywood. And that was, they called it the era of the shredders. I mean, Yngwie Malmsteen, Eddie Van Halen, at that time they had a article in Guitar Player magazine called Spotlight. There was a guy named Mike Varney that discovered all these new unknown guitar players. They were all just like ridiculous, man. I mean, just total shredders. That was a big influence, man. I was engulfed in that stuff, you know. And anything it seems like I did, I pretty much jumped in full force. And that's what you have to do to be great at anything. I like what C.T. Fletcher says. I mean, obsession is a necessity. You almost have to be just obsessed with what you do to get to that next level, because you'll hit a plateau, man. You'll hit a wall with whatever you do sometimes, and it takes almost like otherworldly feature. You got to call on a higher power or something else to get out of this normality that we humans all have.
I got some information here on your first Muay Thai teacher, Nampa. How do you pronounce his last name?
Sihoradecho.
Okay. Says that he's a Raja Damnaram Stadium champion and bronze medalist in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty cool, like, record to have, like, for your first teacher. You know. Especially you're a bunch of other people just opening up, gyms, and they don't really have like credentials and stuff like that. But that, and that was happening a lot during the 80s.
Lucky. Yeah, I was lucky. No, well, it wasn't. There was a lot of nobodies too. I mean, and you'll see that, like nowadays, with MMA being so famous, there's like everybody starting up schools now, and they don't really have the experience. And
right,
they see it everywhere. And the social media, I mean, you can blow yourself up into some big thing. And as time goes on, if you don't have the depth to back it up, if you can't think on the fly and answer certain questions that come about, you may be exposed as not knowing that much.
Right.
So that's why I suggest, if you're out there, train martial arts. I mean, definitely get into it full bore, but seek out a good coach, a reputable coach, someone with some experience that's been around. And it's a pretty small circle. You'll find that a lot of people all know each other, and a known name can take you a long way. And sometimes when you haven't heard of someone, it's kind of a red flag.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, there's people that just learn a Muay Thai kick and all of a sudden they think they can open a gym, right?
Like anything else, man, they want to make some easy money, but it's not easy. And if you're in Muay Thai for the money, you're barking up the wrong tree.
I think it was easier to get away with that back in the day, because you could, there were people going around saying like, oh, I've had 200 fights, but nothing was really on record or whatever, and there was a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, there are, but also too, sometimes when people are promoted as having all this ridiculous stuff, or it wasn't them that wrote it. Someone will go ahead and say things about them or write a bio for them, and it's not really their fault either. So that can go both ways.
So you mentioned earlier that your first Muay Thai teacher passed away. Since we're really not going to get to know too much about him, do you want to say anything nice about him?
Awesome guy, really laid back. Super nice guy. I still talk to his daughter too, Malia, and his best friend Super Chai. I mean, he was just a mentor. I looked up to him. I idolized him. Had all the right intentions with what he did, and I'm so lucky, man. I had the best teachers to have him to start out with, and then to have Kriya Tong. When I went to Thailand, I started right away training with Kriya Tong Sananan, the founder of Siddhya Tong. He was an amazing guy. Not only trained more champions than anyone in history, but in 2004 he won the Thai lottery, quite a bit of money too. Gave almost all of it away to the poor. I mean, he was like a humanitarian, almost like on the scope of he could have won a Nobel Peace Prize, you know.
Yeah, he's well known. Definitely.
Awesome guy. He taught a lot of stuff to the foreigners that wasn't really divulged at the time. He, you know, is the type of dude that no secrets. I mean, I have the actual prayer to take the Monkan off that he wrote out by hand for me. And I'm just a foreigner dude, you know. I mean, to give out secret stuff like that, it's in Bali language. I had to have it, you know, transcribed by the monks, and you know, it's to give out like secret info like that. You don't see it that often.
Yeah. I just wanted to rewind real quick. Before you went to Sityodtong, you actually trained with Vut Kenmark, right?
After Nanfa passed away, Vut was a great guy too. He did a lot to really blow up the Muay Thai scene in the United States. He was a smart guy. He was real likable, and he helped me out a lot after Nanfa passed away. And he was one of the guys that actually wrote like a letter to Kriyatong so I could get into Sityodtong too.
Wow. And then so you finally made your way to Sityodtong, huh? And was that your first trip to Thailand?
Yeah, 1991, 92. First trip to Thailand, and went to, I was just blown away by it, the whole thing too. And the guys that were there at the time, it was during the golden age of Muay Thai, which was
smashing time.
Ridiculous, yeah. And Sityodtong had a bunch of champions. I got to work alongside Chachai Paisatong. You guys that haven't heard the name Chachai Paisatong, Google it, look it up. He was amazing. I mean, so fast. I never forget the one time I saw him training. The guy was just kicking like 50, 100 kicks at a time at a ridiculous pace and power and speed with an army boot on his left leg, right? Like some kind of leg weight or something. But you can't use leg weights while kicking. I wouldn't do that. It's going to mess your joints up. Believe me, I've tried it all. And the army boot doesn't. I mean, wearing boots is not going to hurt you, but he did that at the time. It was pretty damn scary seeing this dude train. I didn't know like a fraction of what I know about the sport today. So I was just like, wow, I was mesmerized.
And that was, Sityodtong was the very first camp you went to straight to Thailand when you got there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, you've trained with a lot of champions, man, and you trained with Samat, right?
Samat, actually, Samat's brother, Gongtalani, was my main coach when I was in Thailand at Sityodtong. He'd hold the pads for me every day. I actually had a room in his house too, and he stayed with me in the States here for 7 months in Pasadena. Great guy, 5 Lumpini Stadium champion belts in 5 different weight classes. The guy he's in the record books, you know. And then Samat, his younger brother, you know, legend. You know about Samat, but yeah, I know Samat real well too. He wasn't really training anybody. I mean, he didn't train with Samat, you know. I mean, he's
like royalty, right?
Yeah, he would show a few tricks, mess around. Now he has his own camp, and of course, Gongtalani, his name's Chart. Chart's there with him now too. He's got a Samat Piakalun camp in Bangkok, and they're both there. And yeah, check them out.
Yeah. Prior to going to Thailand, did you even know who these guys were?
I did. Oh yeah, I was a fan and Thai boxing, you know, fanatic for years before that. I used to go to the in Thai Town in Hollywood, and there was a video shop, and we would all get the videos every week when they came out, the new ones from Thailand, and they'd be all the fights from all the stadiums and everything, and I would rent them all the time. They would just call me, oh, your videos are in, okay. I'd run up there and go get them, and you know, it was it. Of course, the VHS.
Right, yeah. I had a spot for that too. Mm-hmm. That's how I was introduced to a lot of fighters as well during the 90s. Ajahn Yod Tom. That's a really big name and important name for us here at Sigatong. Most people don't know about him, you know. And you touched up a lot about some of the things that he's done. And personally, I wish I could have met him because, you know, I have family history too. And he was basically alive during the time my granduncle was alive. And I feel like maybe there could have been some kind of information, you know. But is there anything else you want to mention about him that you may not?
You won't know that one until you get to the other side, man. Until both of us do.
Yeah.
But to be able to even be around a guy like Kriya Tong, it's hard to explain. I mean, it was almost like the dude was almost like the Pope or something. He had an entourage around him, and you could just feel his energy, man. That there was something more than human about him. There was something really, really special. I can't really explain it.
It was like a father to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, to all of us. Sigatong Camp was also a orphanage too. I mean, there was a lot of orphans there, and kids that the fathers and mothers would drop off to get them guidance, to almost school them on life, not only fighting. So,
is this still an orphanage?
I don't know anymore now that Krutoy is handling the camp. Kriya Tong's son, who's a great guy. Dude's a genius. I mean, he knows about all there is to know about Muay Thai. Speaks English fluently too. He's a great one to be carrying the torch.
Yeah. So, early 90s when you came to Thailand, you know, being a Phalang, did you experience any negativity in the camps, or were you welcome?
Midnight!
A little bit.
I'm a pretty fun-loving dude, you know, and I smile a lot. So in Thailand, you can definitely get along if you do that.
Yeah.
If you're some hard-ass mad dog, you're gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
And regardless of that, you're gonna get tested. So you're gonna probably have an ass kicking or two, and that's just part of the game. But and it's amazing how some of these little dudes, especially when you start clinching with them, little kind of look weak. Maybe the guys are built like women, and you start clinching with them, and they're f***ing you up. They're like breaking your neck and knocking you on the ground left and right, and just tossing you like a rag doll, and your whole perspective changes, you know. And then for us, being from the States, we bring that back to America. But here's the deal: you can get in the situation where you're getting ripped off. You're not really learning anything, and you're just kicking the pads.
Depending on where you go and stuff, you gotta look out for that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Maybe a touristy place, or just, you know, for fun. And they'll put you to fight too, whether you're ready or not. Oh, you kick hard, you fight. Like, oh, yeah, all right, I'll go for it.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea. Sometimes catastrophic, but you'll see that all the time.
Well, I mean, knowing you, I'm pretty sure it didn't take very long time for you to get some kind of respect.
Well, it's always depends on where you're going with it too. I mean, no one's gonna come to a camp of that stature and be able to carry their name, right, and form their own Sigatong. That's not gonna happen.
All right.
And it's no franchise, or it's kind of weird. When I first opened the Sigatong in 2003 here in LA, some of the Thais, there's a huge Thai population here. I get along great with them, and you know, some of the Muay Thai community were kind of laughing at me and joking around a little bit. How did you get that name? You know, how much did it cost you to, you know, for Kriya Tong to, you know, let you use the Sigatong name? You understand how big that is? Oh my God! And I was like, didn't pay him. He ordered me to do it. He found out I was going to start a gym with my wife, June, and he pretty much said, you know, you understand me, boy, your new gym's going to be the Sigatong on the West Coast. There was already one in Boston. Mark Delgrati, and
Man, you must have felt like fireworks inside, huh?
oh yeah, I was like, I made it already. I was like, you know, it wasn't about no money. It wasn't about the money either. You know, it was like
It's a huge honor, right?
Totally,
Yeah.
big time. And the guys that I looked up to as mentors, taking me into the fold, letting you use that name, I was like, I made it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
And
So-
I think out on social media, Creo Tong's daughter Chloe was telling people like, you know, you can't just use our name or something like that because you trained here. Something was like that. Something like that was going on.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad. And no, of course not.
Right. So that's why some of them may see, you'll see like affiliate or something like that on there that they allow to have. You know.
I mean, and Mark Delgrati in Boston took the same mindset too. I mean, he had a lot of experience. I mean, he was like Krutoi's protege for years, learned how to speak Thai, had a good amount of fighting experience in stadiums. I mean, I never fought at the stadiums in Bangkok. He fought at the stadiums in Bangkok, and you know, we both, I think Creo Tong was smart. He saw foreigners that really learned the real deal. They learned how to speak Thai, and you know, kind of just wanted to carry the common thread that he wanted the future to kind of take on.
Yeah, and you know, I got
He had vision. It was that vision, I should say. One thing I think I'd like to mention too, that I think one of the most important aspects of coaching is to have vision. You can have, you know, strongest people, or you're the hardest conditioning, or you work great boxing or whatever, you know, but if you have vision to take somebody, because they'll come in as like a raw piece of material, and you're like, you don't know what that person's going to be like 2 years down the road. They could be a world champion.
Right. Yeah, you never know who's going to walk through that door and what they're capable of.
Totally.
Along with vision, and I want to add to it, and thank you for it, is tradition. Because me being Thai American, I really appreciate, you know, what you're putting out there. You're not taking from the culture and discarding what you don't want from it or whatever, like some gyms do. And I think that's really good, because you can't have a traditional Muay Thai gym without having everything that comes with it, you know?
Well, I think that if you don't adhere to the traditions, they're going to die. And all the things, you know, like the Y crew, the Propagits wearing the Mongkon, things when the Mongkon's taken off. Knowing the etiquette of going over the ropes, the bowing before entering the ring, and then all these different things is intrinsic to Muay Thai. And if it's not adhered to in the right manner, it's going to be gone, and then there will be none. You know, so it has to be. That's why, you know, the King of Thailand made Creo Tong the conservator of Thai boxing throughout the world.
Yeah, that's what I read up on, actually.
And that's what it's all about right there, what you just mentioned.
Yeah, and I think that Creo Tong did a great job in picking you, because you have been living up to keeping up tradition, you know? At least as far as
Well, thank you.
feel.
That's, you know, a big honor.
Because, I mean, it feels good, because, you know, I lost a lot of my culture coming here. You know, my parents split when I was very young, and I'm just an, you know, American kid trying to fit in with whatever neighborhood I'm around, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until 1999 when I met you, and then here's this white guy, you know, talking to me in Thai, and I'm like, man, I'm blown away, and I feel great, you know. For the first time, I feel like, you know, somebody other than Thai appreciates something.
Damn, bro, you're gonna make me cry, man.
I'm serious, you know, because like I lost a lot of myself being in America, you know, and you know, meeting another Thai person for me was like meeting a freaking unicorn, you know. I didn't, and it felt cool, because I was like, well, you know, my dad's white, you know, and it's like, if I had an older brother that, you know, was a white guy, it would be you, basically, you know. That's the way I see it. Anyways, I really thank you for that, and Creo Tong, you know, chose very wisely.
Thanks for you for sharing that, man. And you're what they call a Lipkun.
Look good.
Half baby, man.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that you trace your roots, man, because a lot of us don't. It's funny. My mom was Ukrainian and my dad was Polish, and my name Michalowski. I met some Poles when I was in Thailand one time, and they were kind of talking about that, how the Americans, you guys don't have no culture, you don't know what you're doing, or anything about your history or anything like that. Because I told them, my name's Michalowski, I'm Polish. Michalowski. They looked at the spelling of it, and no, it's Michalowski.
Oh wow.
It's Michalowski. There's apparently there was a Polish general that had that name too, an army general, and I said, man, I've been mispronouncing my name my whole life, and they were like, dude, you're American. You guys,
you'll get everything up. You'll get a pass.
But it doesn't have to be that way though. It doesn't have to be that way. I mean, we can study whatever we're doing in whatever culture. That's one of the great things about America is the freedom. The freedom of being American is, there's nothing like it, man. And there's a lot of, I don't know, it's almost like today it's not cool to be American or whatever, to be patriotic, and I'm not down with that. Because when you travel the rest of the world and you see, they don't have the freedom. They don't have that freedom, bro. I mean, they don't have the ability to say things about the government that are real negative, or speak their mind about certain things, or stand up for certain rights, or this and that, and we do.
Yeah.
There could be a day when, I don't want to even say this, but the Muay Thai was banned because it's too violent or too...
We'll touch up on that.
Yeah, but that's the freedom that we have here, man. So, God bless America.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, why I served, and one of many other reasons.
Of course, man, risk your life. Yeah, but you know what? Last king that just passed away, what an awesome guy, man.
Yeah, for real. I mean, some people don't even know. I mean, Thai people are very genuine about how they feel about the king.
And he's was a pretty genuine man himself.
Yeah, I mean, the documentaries I've seen on him, the things that he's done for the country, straight up wonderful guy.
Totally.
I can't say
honest, straightforward.
He's an American.
I heard he went to school in San Francisco.
Yeah, he was born in America.
And interacting with the lowest of the low or the highest of the high, I mean, and everybody in between.
Yeah, and too bad. But we got to live during his reign, so that was pretty cool.
Very.
So starting out, because when I first met you, you didn't have your own gym in '99. You were working at Bodies in Motion. Yeah, and
that was fun.
I was on and off with you, because I was just some kid that just couldn't really afford nothing, I
made quite a transformation, Pat.
I did.
You really did.
When you first met me, I was just way into it. Yeah, not only that, but back in '99, I was into that gang
Yeah, well, we all had our little issues with, the wildlife.
Yeah.
Coming up.
And then 90s.
I did too.
90s, it was pretty crazy times.
It sure was.
In '03, when you first opened, I mean, was it really hard, really getting established and your money straight, that kind of a thing?
I just had enough money to get it going. I mean, like I said, I was in it for the love.
Yeah.
I'd like to make some money. That would be nice.
Of course. Yeah.
Have a little nicer vehicles, bigger house, more guns. But hey, Muay Thai isn't necessarily about that. It can be. I mean, there's no reason why we can't make it a little bit more lucrative. But when I first started out, I don't know. I wasn't that scientific. I don't know. I was still fighting at the time too, so I kind of like having a class with me was like, we pretty much just put the gloves on, shin pads on, and go at it, and then take them off and clinch afterwards, and then be pretty much it. And I was like, didn't care if you joined or not.
Yeah.
And sign this paper so you can't sue me.
Yeah. Because you were breaking ribs back then.
Do that. I mean, but that's not the way to groom people under you, you know, I mean, and I still have some guys that were with me at that time, you know, which is amazing, like Josh Aragon.
Yeah.
Who's a lion fight welterweight champ now.
Yeah. I remember it was young.
North American champ. He was started when he was 11 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and he was a big kid. You know, he was almost my size, so I kind of just eyeballed him as a sparring partner. Really nice kid. His father passed away, so his mom would just kind of send him to train with me and stay with me, you know, and still with me today at age 32, 33, early 30s. I didn't want to think about it because I'm like a damn dinosaur compared to that now. And, you know, now it's awesome to see him being a champion, you know, and he was WBC champ too as a junior middleweight. So,
and I also want to thank you for giving us poor kids a chance too, because I remember like when I was coming back to train with you, it was like, you know, $10 a class. That was like for the day, from what I remember, and you know, I really appreciate that. You know, you're not all just about the money, but you're willing to compromise, and that's one thing that I love about, you know, coming and training with you. You know.
Well, I mean, you got to give back what was so freely given to you, right?
Yeah.
And I believe you got to give it away to keep it. You know, so if you want good results and good vibes, put them out.
Yeah. You get what you.
Everybody wants respect, right? I want respect, especially guys, you know, and they don't give any respect. Well, how are you gonna? And I used to be like that too. Respect me, well, you know, it don't work like that.
Yeah.
It don't work like that. You make enemies, and that's not the way to do it. You know, It's not. And I think another thing for us men, right, is fear. Fear is a big deal for men. A lot of guys are like, I don't have no fear, man. No fear. You see
that's BS.
Stickers of fear. Yeah, if you don't have fear, you're either lying, or you're just stupid, or you just don't want to win. You know, I mean, a little bit of nerves is good. I mean, I'm not talking about like freezing up with fear and choking. Of course not.
Right.
But I mean, we have to be able to realize as human beings, we do have some fear, and we have to know how to process it. Process it stably and normally so that we're not paralyzed by it, and realize that that is a reality in our lives. You know, you may talk to people that differ on that topic, but I think it's unhealthy to just completely ignore it and sweep it under the table. That you have to deal with it in a healthy manner.
Do you have any advice that you would tell yourself, your old self, when you first started out with the gym, like opening? Do you have any advice for yourself or anybody that would, you know, think about opening a gym, basically?
Well, opening a gym is really stressful. It's changed so much now. I wouldn't even relate to when I started it out too, because you know now you've got all the social media and all the
yeah, we are in a different age.
Marketing stuff is just ridiculous, and it's almost like fakes become well known, you know, and guys with absolutely no experience become known because you read their bios and stuff. And you're like, damn, oh, this sounds amazing. But you know, after a few months or years or whatever, you find out, wow, I'm getting ripped off. But I think that basically that's a tough one. That's a tough one because sometimes it's how good of a businessman you are and not necessarily how good of a trainer.
Being a Muay Thai teacher for some time now, you've created a lot of champions. Would you say this is the one thing that makes you happy in doing what you do?
Definitely. That is my purpose in life. I think that's what God put me on earth for, is to carry the message and also to guide people, especially youth that I see struggling, and I see some commonalities that I had when I was that age coming up, you know. I'll see guys that I can tell if they keep doing the things they're doing, going the road they're going to wind up in prison.
Yeah.
And that's nowhere to go. And the thing about Thai boxing, somewhat violent sports, is it gets the point across pretty good. I mean, any sport can do it. There's guys that, you know, clean up just to be, you know, football players or baseball players or whatever, or soccer. But with fighting, if you have a bad day or you come in and do something stupid, you've been out partying all night, you got a hangover, get your ass kicked and maybe go to the hospital. So the message gets in a little deeper. It's a little more efficient. And we have to learn things. You have to keep it simple sometimes, you know, and the message gets ground in you pretty damn good. You know, when you're at the hospital and you can't remember your name and they're stitching you up.
Yeah.
You know,